Hi guys, some of you might recognise this as one of the toys I repaired for one of my grandsons quite a while ago. It was broken across here, so we got lots of hot glue around there, and the top was also broken, which we also hot glued. I think we super glued it as well. Anyway, it hasn't survived. It did alright for a month or so, I think, but eventually they managed to destroy it again. So I'm looking at it because I know this has got some fancy flashing LEDs in it, and I'm thinking we might be able to use them for my Halloween dolls that I'm modifying. So we'll have a look. So there we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 flashing LEDs with one of those little resin sealed circuit boards in the middle there. So if I put some power on it, I'll use 3 AA batteries. Might be overdoing it a little bit. Oh, that looks alright. They do start up a sequence in a minute. There we go. Not terribly exciting sequence. I can't remember how many batteries it had originally. I think it is 3 AA batteries. Yeah. I thought it did a bit more than that from memory, but well, that's what we've got. The camera's not picking it up very well, but it's green, red, orange, blue, red, green, blue. And the idea was it would spin round and create interesting patterns due to the, was it persistence of vision, POV. I can't do it just by hand. So can we do anything with that in one of those dollies? Because I can extend all the wires. I'll have a think for a few minutes. What would have been nice would have been to have a rotating doll's head, because this is an electric motor, but I've checked the heads of the dolls that I've got and they're all a bit heavy, so I don't think this would do very well trying to spin them, and it'd spin them too fast. We'd need a reduction gear to slow it down a bit. Just for interest, I'll take the rest of it apart. This bottom section might be useful anyway as a battery container, because it's got a convenient on-off switch on it. Because that bit's super glued, hot glued together, so we'll just take that apart anyway. So there we are, we've got the battery container at the bottom here and a nice on-off switch, so that might be worth saving. I could probably cut it off across here. So I've got a 3 AA battery pack. Then at the top end, right, need to undo these as well. So that's our electric motor, and then we got a brush here that made contact with one of these wires via that little metal cup, and then the other, which would that have been? If we assume that's the positive and that's the negative, the positive is actually connected to the shell or the casing of the motor, and comes up through the shaft, and there was a solder connection on the top of the shaft, which was the other connection onto there, so that we could spin it round and it would still make contact. Yeah, I think I'll just saw that off there. So I've chopped the end off, put fresh batteries in it. Okay. So we've got a battery pack with a switch on it. Question is, can we think of anything good to do with this? Like I said, I was rather hoping it might do a little bit more than it does. I'm going to save this little piece because it's quite a nice little motor housing. That might make an interesting toy. That could be the motor on top of a fan-driven car or something like that. Yeah, I'll save that. That'll go in my bits and pieces drawer. So I've got these 3 dolls left. What are we going to do to them? One thing I definitely want to do is take this little screamer thing apart and put the components inside one of these. Probably this one. Okay. That must be the circuit board up there with a push switch on it. Yeah, there we are. And then that's the LDR, light dependent resistor. And that looks like that's held in place with hot glue or something. So that's 3 AG13 or LR44 batteries. So each one of those is 1.5 volts, same as a AA battery. I wonder if I can melt the hot glue. It'd be nice to be able to get that out and use it. Yeah, that came out alright. Just held that in front of something hot for a little while. One of my hot lights. That melted the glue and it pulled out nicely. This might take a bit of explaining what I'm doing here. I've got the skull screamer thing here. I've got a couple of wires, one going to the negative terminal of the battery and the other going to one leg of the speaker, so that when power goes to the speaker it's also coming along to here. This circuit board over here is an H bridge that I bought for using on my little radio controlled cars. And what it does is when we put a signal into these terminals here, then that little circuit board there passes current from an external battery out on these leads that would normally go to an electric motor like this one. But instead I've diverted the wires to the LED display. So if I connect it up and then change the light over the so not only do we get the scream, but you also get all the LEDs light up. It's just a bit of a coincidence that I got all those circuit boards and bits and pieces together. They're not designed to go together like this. If I disconnect the LED and connect up this little electric motor, stick something on it. So we've got a couple of options there. I can get my LEDs to light up, or I can spin an electric motor just by tapping into the speaker. Still playing with using this H bridge to drive LEDs in this case. What I've done at the moment is just stuck a string of LEDs inside this dolly. So if I connect up the H bridge again and shine a light on the detector, I think that's quite effective. I like that better than those pretty coloured lights. What I'm doing now is getting some of the LEDs down into each leg, some into the arm. I'll do the same there. We should have a few left over for a couple of extra in the body and some up in the head. It's quite a large head, so I should be able to get that battery in, which is an old mobile phone battery. and the speaker and the circuitry, and we need to put the light detector, I would think, in the mouth, because there's already a hole just there, so we can widen that out a bit, and that should do. Just a quick check. Yep, getting closer. Just to show you what I've done, the circuit board out of the screamer, as it was called, I've just put a bit of double-sided tape and stuck it on the back of my H bridge. I've got a wire from the speaker going to one of the inputs on the H bridge, and then because I'm using a common battery now, the negative from the battery is going to the other input on the H bridge, and then I'm going to use this old phone battery as the power for all of it, and I'll probably hang it outside so I can just plug it and unplug it rather than worrying about the on-off switch, which I should just leave inside. In fact, I'll probably put another bit of double-sided tape on the back of the speaker and stick it on top of there, and put the on-off switch in there as well, so it's all in one little pile hanging in the middle of the head there somewhere. Oh, you can just about see in there where I've got the light sensitive resistor in her mouth, so I should be able to pop it all together now. Well, we're almost there, but we've got a problem. That head is incredibly sound deadening. I can't believe that. So I'm going to have to do something about that. I'm going to have to move the speaker. I'll have to give her some fairly major surgery. I'm going to cut open her chest and put the speaker just there, or at least I'll cut open the back and push it through from the back. There's the speaker now. I always feel better when I've been able to put a bit of hot glue somewhere. I melted some holes straight in her chest. A little bit dark in here. You'll be pleased to know I've put her clothes back on. And if we put a torch on her, so that seems to work. I wonder what we'll do for the next one. That was a good example of one of my projects where I start out going one way and end up in a totally different direction. Halloween's coming.